weather. How many people are here for the first time today? Nice. Well, welcome, guys. I hope you enjoy it. For the rest of you, you kind of know how this goes. 1 Million Cups is a weekly event that is designed to highlight 2 startups in our community. Well, most of the time 2 startups in our community, but I'll get to that. We pick people from all over the region, also all of the Million Cups throughout the country. There are 60 of them. We exchange presenters with them. So if you're up here presenting and you think you could have a great customer base in Denver, we can get that hooked up for you. You got to pay for travel, but we can get it hooked up for you. The goal is to give the startup 6 minutes to present what they're working on, to show you guys the cool things being built here. Then there's 20 minutes of Q&A. This is the most important part. This is where you guys come in. We need you to ask incisive questions. We need you to seek clarification for points you didn't understand, offer suggestions, make connections for them, possibly be mentors. That's really important. That's your job. In exchange for that, we provide you delicious free coffee from our friends at Kawa. Thank you, Kawa Coffee. I'd like to tell you about my co-organizers. My name is Sean Kennedy. I'm here in this greenhouse. We have Murray Ann Bowers. And then we have a laundry list of folks not here today. Most of you know Danielle, who is one of our original organizers and is here every week. Then there's Richard Wood, who is our ambassador to Kansas City. There's John Morrow, whose name evokes such respect that we keep him on the list. And Ruben Pressman, on the off occasion he shows up, we sing him praises, light him candles, and are excited for the startups he works with. Our first presenter today is my good friend Pete, who is a recipient of that 1 Million Cups passport program. He has made the arduous trek all the way from Orlando, and hopefully he'll tell us a better way to make that arduous trek in the future.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I did actually used to live in this area. I lived in Gulfport for 3 years. 3 lovely years when I didn't see my wife at all while she was in law school. So, anyway, my name's Pete Teeble. I'm the founder and CEO of Zipline Green. Wave some people here. We're just going to kind of get rolling on it because I could talk all day. So we have what we do at Zipline Green is we create infrastructure, sustainable infrastructure. So we have a patent pending on something called an Oasis Smart Guideway. And so this is the technical kind of definition for it. So it's a solar-powered transit system housing a flexible combination of infrastructure components operated by a single digital control system. Huh? You guys got that? You got that, right? We go. If you got it, we go. Yeah. All right, so let's. Oh, you can't see. You can't see the screen. Okay. If I go up here. Okay. So let's give a little idea of what it is. So this is a guideway that you probably have seen before. At its basis, a guideway is a groove or a track along which something moves. So if you've been to Disney, their guideways are these reinforced concrete things. They've got inside of that is the power source and the things that tell the train where to go. Theoretically, when the human tells them to go there. And so I happen to like Iron Man, so I put the Iron Man's right up there. That's how it works. With our guideway, and this is an original design from several years ago. We're at least 2 or 3 generations beyond this, and we have two new physical designs in the works right now. But what we offer here is we do start out with the train portion. This is where your train goes. My wife says I have to point that out. I have to point that out. So inside, essentially what the Smart Guideway is, it's a reinforced concrete tunnel. And inside of it, it has a lot of different components. So when we started out as just a solar-powered train. And that's a long story about how I got to that. We'll talk about that another time. But in the process of doing this and designing it, what we came up with was we went out and met with some people on the Arabian Peninsula and asked them, we said, well, would you be interested in a solar-powered train? Because we figured out a way to make it work. And they said, absolutely, we're very interested in this, but could you put a natural gas pipeline in it? Because we were meeting with the Crown Prince of Qatar, and Qatar is to natural gas as Saudi Arabia is to oil. And so we went back and we thought about that and figured out a way to do it. Well, in the process of that, what ended up happening was I started thinking about if I were a developing nation, what else would I want? Well, I'd want water. I might want natural gas or a distilled product like diesel or gasoline or jet fuel or something like that. I might want a power grid. I might want some grid level storage, and wouldn't it be nice if we could have the whole thing run itself on one digital control system? So that's what we have. We essentially have a flexible array of infrastructure inside a reinforced concrete tube. I mean, it's a little bit more special than that, but that's the best I can give you right now in 6 minutes. And so what we do with that is the community itself can decide what they want. So do they need a power grid? Cool, put a power grid in it. Do you want the pipeline? You want it to be water instead of natural gas? No problem, we can do that. And we literally have a single command and control system that we're in the process of, it's been designed, but we're in the process of programming it right now. So that's kind of the technology. And to give you an example project, and I didn't realize this was relatively controversial until I got here. So, hey, it might be interesting. So this is your route for green light Pinellas. And
oh Lord.
yeah, I know. The people I stayed with last night, dear friends of mine, lived next door to one of the guys that's a big dog in this, and they're like, I can't believe you're using this as an example. I was like, well, it has to mean something to you guys. So, okay, so here's what it is. This is the 24 miles, 14 stops. I put the ridership for the bottom part of the slide, which I'm going to show in a minute, would be as if where are we at? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, good. Saw that slide. The bottom part of the slide that I'm going to show you in a moment would be as if you used our technology and our infrastructure to do this. And so I put your ridership at the same ridership as Sunrail. Because Sunrail is, Orlando is, the metro area that Sunrail serves is twice the size of population-wise of St. Pete and Clearwater. So I put it at ridership of 1 million. I figured that was sporting. So, and then your current status, which you've got the referendum next month, and it looks like operation will be in 10 years. So, okay, so if we built this for you, just the train portion, we don't do buses, we just do the train portion, but if we built this for you, it'd be about 1.3 billion to build it for you. But there are a few things that come with the Oasis smart infrastructure or smart guideway. One thing is we have a relatively fast build time. 2 to 3 years is what it would take to build this. We're using reinforced concrete. We're using some means that are just a lot faster than you would think. But the other thing that I want you to see here is this revenue sources, because everybody who opens a train or a rapid transit can offer you fares. And sure, and that number of fares is based on the worldwide average for a system of this type and this length. But here's what else I can offer you. I can offer you surplus power. The amount of surplus power based on the solar radiation that hits this area of the world for a year is enough to power over 1,800 homes. That's a lot of power. I understand that around here, Duke Energy is really popular. Not as popular as we are in Orlando.
You just hate them all, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm here to help. But the good news on something like this is that whoever generates the power owns the power. So Duke Energy doesn't own this power. Got it. So that's an interesting little thing we can talk about later if you like. Carbon credits. This is totally clean energy. So whoever builds this gets carbon credits for every megawatt of clean energy that we develop. So we get 36,684 carbon credits every year. This is an operation here in St. Pete, if we were doing this in St. Pete. Those are currently selling on the market for about $20 a piece. So that's another revenue source for you. Payback for this is 12.26 years for this. The green light payback is standard for most infrastructure, which is about 30. So fares is one way to go. This is enough. So I'm getting close on time. My ask for the day is this. I'm trying to get the word out. I'm trying to get the word out on social media big time. We're getting ready to do an Indiegogo campaign. We've got a couple of angels that are looking at us, and I need to look bigger than I am. So that's what the biggest thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that want to be champions of our cause, that are willing to tweet and Facebook out to the world whenever we say, hey, we have an announcement, and that kind of thing. Okay. With that, what questions can I answer?
What's your target market? Obviously, it's governments, but what level of governments? And have you ever put one of these? Has one of these ever been built?
No, we've never built one yet. We do have a site, a public-private site out in the western United States that has said, hey, if you guys want to go find someone and build a test track here, you can. And so we've got a space for a 6.5 mile long test track. I just got to find $350 million to build it. But the thing is with this,
Your target market.
my target market. We actually started out, I never thought I would work in the United States, all right? Because I was inventing this around the time that Rick Scott was killing high-speed rail. And I really thought about it. I thought, Siemens on high-speed rail in Florida lost $10 million when he did that. I can't afford $10 million. They can, I can't. So I thought, do I want to work in a place where the stroke of a pen, some yahoo who buys the election can just get rid of my technology and everything else? No, I don't. So we started targeting places in the developing world, and the first markets we're going after are places like the Arabian Peninsula. There's some trans-Australian stuff we're looking at. Places that have money, but they don't have infrastructure. So if you look at the Arabian Peninsula, and this is the best example I can give you of this, is that they have, let's do this backwards for you guys. So there's Dammam, that's here, it's the northeast, and it goes down through Riyadh to Jeddah, which is outside of Mecca. It's 814 miles. You have oil, political, and religion all in that corridor. At most, it's about the size of 4th Street out here. It's like 4 lanes. Sometimes it's 2 lanes. There are no pipelines between those cities for the most part. There's no power grids. So what they're doing is they're building tens of power plants in the cities so they don't run out. If they do run out, they run out. But if they have surplus, they have surplus. So that's one of the areas we're targeting, and we actually are going over to meet with some people in Abu Dhabi and Riyadh, hopefully in January. So, okay. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
How does your system accommodate pump stations for the pipeline? Where do you put the pump stations?
Pump stations are actually on the ends. So the power generated runs the stuff that's in the guideway, because there's no way I could generate enough power to run the pump stations. So if we go to this. Okay.
So how does the train actually run? Is it electric, runs off photovoltaic cells, or how is it solar?
Well, let me say this. The train's not solar, the guideway is. So the guideway is the reinforced concrete tunnel. It has solar panels on it. We can work with just about any train system that will work in an elevated functionality. I do have preferences. There is one out there that's relatively new. They've only had 2 or 3 implementations that is about 30% more efficient than anything else. And because I'm looking for efficiency, because I'm solar, they're my preference. That being said, I'm really okay with anybody you want to use. We just may not make it to the energy neutral level.
So your USP is the conduit through which the utilities run and the solar panels.
Correct. Yeah, our patents cover just the guideway. So, and we're partnering with a train company, and I have a personal relationship with the owners of Solar Roadways, and our companies have NDAs back and forth. So, would I like to use their product? Sure. Do I have to use it? No. There was someone over here. Yes, ma'am.
Well, just piggybacking on that idea, are you considering talking to some of the people, like the people that are doing the roadways in those hexagon kind of things, and coordinating your efforts so that you're not competing for the dollars out there for solar, but you're really building an infrastructure of solar? Yeah,
that's actually Solar Roadways that's doing that. And I actually, if you go to my personal Facebook, you can see a picture of me standing on their first prototype, because I went out and met with Scott and Julie a couple years ago. And we have talked with them. They have very specific interests in where they want to build first. Believe it or not, they have 0 interest in the Arabian Peninsula. And so they've actually come to us and said, if you guys want the Arabian Peninsula, take it. So, I mean, obviously there's more to it than that, but that's essentially where it's at. But yes, we are looking at ways to taking their technology and putting it in with ours. We see a lot of walkways. We see a lot of creating stations that are almost like oases, and where the walkways are solar panels, because their solar panel powered walkways are already ready. So,
how fast can this, transportation? I would assume you run a bullet train off of it as well.
You could. We did when they were doing the Florida high-speed rail. Siemens did this big thing at the Orlando Convention Center, and I went in kind of acting like I wasn't really who I was. I was just asking questions, you know. The bottom line is we could power the high-speed rail that they were trying to use. Now, we didn't have any surplus at all, because high-speed rail is an energy hog. Maglev is the same way. Maglev is an energy hog as well. We believe that, you know, there's a Maglev train that's going in Orlando, maybe. It's been approved, but, you know, and we're trying to talk with them about using our guideway for it. So let me go to this gentleman back here, and then I'll be ready. Yes, sir.
The cost you propose for analysis include land acquisition charterways?
It does not. It does not. And you know, I did the slide, and then I read more on it last night, and the number per mile here does include a land acquisition. It does not. That's straight up construction cost. Yes, ma'am. Wow, I'm sorry. Hang on one second. Yes, sir.
Are you precasting your sections, or are they cast on-site in place?
They're cast in on site. So, well, at a work site very near to it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you were to bid on this project, how would your bid compare to the ones that are high off?
Well, that's a very deep question. From a straight up construction standpoint, okay, here's my opinion, just on the very little that I know about Green Line Pinellas, which is what I've read in the last 24 hours. Let me say this, is that I think that on one level, it's just good to start getting better mass transit in your community. Sunrail in Orlando is not what I would call green, it's not what I would call great, but it's good, and it's good enough to start moving people into the mindset of using mass transit. I don't know enough about their numbers to be able to answer your question really well, because I don't know enough about what their other land acquisition costs are, their land prep costs, those kinds of things.
But you know enough of your own.
Yes.
What it would cost, you know.
Well, that was for us. That's the there 1.3. That is the cost to build at stations and all.
Yeah, but you just told him that did not include the land area.
True, but I don't know what the land acquisitions are going to be here. I haven't done that much research on it. To be totally frank with you, I was looking for a local route to be able to explain what we do. In Orlando, I used the airport run. That's just approved. So, yes, ma'am.
Well, part of your strategy is that you're building an infrastructure that allow people to put pipelines, all kinds of utilities
Right.
in it. But what if that was not part of their plan for this, that they don't need to put any pipelines in it? Then it really wouldn't be cost effective for them, would it?
Not as much, no.
Right.
The big thing for us is that the only way we get into developed nations like the United States is in a private, like a for-profit kind of a situation where you have a private investor coming in and doing it, and doing the business case that way. If you're not doing the pipelines and stuff like that, this was my number one argument about why we shouldn't be doing this in the developed world, because if you're not doing all the other stuff, then you're spending a lot of money for what you're getting.
But it gives the opportunity for the option plan in the future.
Yes.
That now here's a system where we could put in not just pipelines, but cables.
Right. Well, yeah, we run high-speed data through it. Instead of burying your power lines, you can put them in the guideway. So there are some options to it. So, yes, sir.
How are you competing with just like traditional infrastructure investments? So like in Saudi Arabia, for example, if they added a pipeline before they built your guideway,
then maybe they wouldn't need that there. I mean, their big thing in Saudi Arabia right now is that they've set aside $220 billion for green energy. And the purpose of that is that Saudi Arabia is based on the idea of being a merchant. They're a merchant society. So their point of view is that if they sell oil to us, it's going to be, whatever it is, $90 a barrel. When they use it domestically, they get $4 a barrel. So from their standpoint, why not power everything in their borders with green energy and then sell all the oil to everybody else? So that's why they're doing that. The GCC, which is the 6 nations of the Arabian Peninsula, it's the 6 ones other than Yemen, they have set aside over $350 billion to do this. So we're going after that because we have some ties to that. My business partner and I have worked on the Arabian Peninsula on power plants doing other things. So that's where we're going after it first. You had something first, sir.
Yeah, so how wide is the internal footprint? Like two lanes of highway?
Well, the elevated portion is 19 feet.
What about internally?
It's about 4.
4 on each pillar?
No, there's only one pillar.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one pillar, and it's designed in a way where you can go, I think it's 100 or 150 feet before the next one. So it's trying to do minimal impact on your community. So, yes, ma'am.
Could you partner with Green Light Pinellas to be even more effective?
Maybe. I mean, I'd be happy to talk to them. My friend who I stayed with is taking my business card over to her neighbor today. So, I mean, I would love to do that. Sure.
Safety issues on having people traveling above pipelines and natural gas, and then also having, you know, your data cables running through there that have to be maintained.
They're compartmentalized. The pipelines are compartmentalized in their own area. We've designed in sensors for that check out when you've got leaks and things like that. But we've also built in some other security and safety technologies that allow for not only, I mean, you're gonna, if you have a pipeline, it's gonna leak. It doesn't matter. Wherever pipeline, anywhere in the world, it's gonna leak. So we've designed some things into it to where basically let's say you're using oil and it's leaked out in there. There are ways for it to drain out into the guideway so it goes somewhere, but it doesn't go out of it. Unless someone punctures the guideway, which is 6-inch reinforced concrete. So if they puncture that, we got bigger problems. But as long as they don't do that, there are places in the guideway for that to go, so that it's not mingling with the other infrastructure components and also not going into the lane. So it's about the best I can do for here. So. Yes, sir.
Actually, I have a few questions for you. What's your background?
I am not an engineer. You know, I'm a problem. My career has basically been a problem solver. I was a corporate problem solver. I worked for consulting companies, and if they had problems internally or externally, I went out there and solved them. That being said, we actually have letters of feasibility from recognized experts in both solar and electrical engineering saying it's not only feasible but doable today. My business partner, on the other hand, has a strong engineering leadership background and a strong technology leadership background. So he balances me very well, but he's based in Switzerland, so making the journey to here is a little difficult. So.
My next question is, the technology itself, are you using magnetic levitation? Magnet train?
We can do, thus far we have not found an elevated rail model that we can't use. I mean, we've been in talks with American Maglev Technologies. We're trying to get all of them to talk about the installation they have in Orlando, because we want to put our guideway in there. We can use with that. We can do the maglev. My preference is a monorail company out of Seattle that has a really highly efficient train. Their bogie is more efficient than anything on the market.
So all this surplus power, are you planning to roof it with solar panels, the whole destination? That's what the initial was.
Yep.
Have you thought about actual, economic impact from that?
From the power?
Yeah, well, I mean, solar panels are huge. To get that kind of payback in that quick of time, you're obviously going to invest in pretty big solar panels.
We actually, one of the proprietary things we created is actually an app, for lack of a better thing, that tells me, based on the location of the world and different things, so we know what size, we can change the size of the panels and things like that in order to generate what we need. Whenever I do something like this, I also figure out a break even. The break even on this is 5% efficiency for a 10-foot square panel. Because the panels are 24 miles long, it's a little bit more power than you're usually getting. I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're asking with the economic impact of it.
Well, I mean, shade. So there's one of the big things is if you're up in the air, you're creating a panel canopy.
Okay.
You got one of the neighborhoods, you're shading a lot
True.
of things. There's an economic impact again.
Okay.
I mean, that's why you only build certain heights in certain
Right.
areas.
Right.
So there's.
I have not looked at that. But I will now.
What's the cost of maintenance after, you talk about 12 years to recoup your investment, so what's the cost of maintenance in the future years compared to traditional systems?
I don't remember what it is actually on this, but that number takes into account having to do the maintenance during that 12 and a quarter years. If I didn't have to take into account the maintenance money, it's like 9 years or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so it's not, I will say this, it is less than what is projected for Greenlight Canals right now. Sorry, that's not the word of Greenlight. I have one person over here, so, yes, sir.
Does your business model require repurchase agreements with the utility to buy back electricity, or what do you do with it?
The power question is one that I think a lot of, that we haven't figured it out yet, what we're gonna do on that. I know that we're gonna power all the stations. One of the things that we have brought up to a potential suitor in Orlando is the idea of saying, well, you could power all the businesses on the route, you know, but that creates competition with Duke, which is an interesting thing. I don't think anybody's figured that out yet. I mean, Scott Rousseau from Solar Roadways and I have talked about this a lot, that whoever builds this owns the power. So if you, and part of the problem that I have with selling it back to Duke is that they pay you like pennies on the kilowatt hour, and then they turn around and charge dollars on the kilowatt hour. So that doesn't make any economic sense to my client communities, much less myself. So we haven't figured that one out yet. Still working on it. And, yes, sir.
Actually, I have a lot of questions. I won't take up all the time, but
I'll be here.
Is it payback a straight line, or is it taking accountability for inflation and cost increases with labor?
I think if I put it in or not. I think it has inflation in it.
Okay, so it's just
I have to look.
So how are you accumulating for the cost of energy? So now we're paying 9 cents a kilowatt hour. Does that increase at a 1.2% increase with?
You know what? It doesn't take it into account because it takes into account for labor and for a couple of things, but it doesn't take into account change in power costs.
And are you using thin film or monocrystalline?
We can use almost anything. We don't because it's a component for us.
Okay.
Our patents are straight up on the guideway. So I am someone who overestimates costs and underestimates profits always, and I do that with this too. So I have used the things that I'm modeling it over is some of the least efficient solar out there, just so I know I can do it.
Okay.
Under this rig right here with this surplus, to give you an idea of it, the average home in the United States uses 24,000 kilowatt hours of power. Multiply that number by 24,000, you have the number of kilowatt hours that is the surplus. And we used 18% efficiency for this, which is a standard rooftop array. I mean, you put real solar panels, honestly, they're not rooftop, not real, but you put on real solar panels on there, something more robust than a rooftop array, and your efficiency is going to hold. Yes, sir.
I would think surely within 24 miles you could find some product
By what?
the electricity.
Yeah, I think you could.
Sound like you solve the oil problem, you know, if you sell it to Duke.
Yeah.
But if you sell it to somebody else.
Right. Well, yeah, I don't know exactly how that'll work because the Duke is a municipally powered monopoly. So you have to get the community to come back and say, you know what, we're not gonna, you know, for this instance, we're gonna for the corridors. I don't know. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Have you developed a business plan for the owner of the system for how they lease out the space for pipelines? Or do they have to develop their own business plan on how they?
That's a really good question. We haven't necessarily come up with a business plan. I can tell them what they'll make on, and we can tell them who the competitors. We did one of these for a run from Orlando to Canaveral, which for me is a beautiful run because it's 46 miles in a straight line and there's one stop. So the reason why we chose that, it's really good for us, but from a pipeline standpoint, the company that sends all the fuel into Orlando has, well, somebody at their company published a private memo on the internet and I found it. Their biggest concern right now is that there will be a pipeline coming from Canaveral, but they don't believe that that could happen because of the environmental concerns. But in this instance, you've got a reinforced concrete tube, so that environmental concern goes way, way down. Because everything between Orlando Orlando and Canaveral is farmland and ranchland. So, anyway, so we haven't quite gotten that far. It's interesting. I never thought I would be working in the U.S., and now that we're having people in the U.S. that are interested, now I'm having to think about a lot more wide range of things. I mean, when you go to Saudi, you sell it essentially. Basically, what happens is the king's advisor says we should do this, and the king says we should do this, and they go to the development company and says go do this, and then they just figure it out. So there's a lot less people in the mix, and even if they get down the line and say they don't want to do it anymore, they still pay you. So that makes me happy. Anyway. Yes, sir.
I got 2 quick questions.
Yes, sir.
You ever consider using wind energy? And do you know Duke Energy is under investigation by the federal government for trucking the North Carolina government?
Well, the second one I'm absolutely not surprised at. I didn't necessarily know that, but I'm not surprised at it. I don't think that, heck, in the state of Florida, they charged us for nuclear reactors that they never built.
Yeah, I want my money back.
Yeah, now they want to raise their money again, so that's a whole other thing. We have looked at some wind power issues. My business partner really wants to add wind to it. I looked at it years ago when I was first developing it, and it didn't make enough power to offset the cost, just because of the design and the way the design works. The Chinese have looked at it with subways, and again, it doesn't make enough.
I got a new design.
So, okay.
Patented. I'll talk to you after.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Great presentation, very enjoyable. How can we as a community help you out?
The biggest thing you can do for me right now is to support us out in the world socially. I am a startup, so if you do have angel investors out there, I'm always looking for those. And specifically with that, and I just put this out there that we actually are courting 2 angels right now because we're looking for $500,000, which we're in a very interesting place right now with this because we have 3 major hitters on the Arabian Peninsula that want to meet with us, and we can't afford to go meet with them. We have the head of solar for all of Saudi Arabia. We have the largest development company in Abu Dhabi, and we have a development company that's based in Beirut, but their offices are in Dubai. We can't go meet with them because we don't have the money to go meet with them. So we are from an investor standpoint, we're looking for $500,000. If you know anybody, we're talking to everybody. And we're willing to do almost anything for it, almost. So, that being said, the biggest thing that everybody can do for me is go out to our Twitter and go out to our Facebook and like us and follow us and those kinds of things. I'm also looking for, and I'm trying to do this in a lot of different areas, but I'm looking for people to be what I would call a champion of our cause. And so, for a champion of our cause would be someone who would be willing to, on like a quarterly basis, when we send out news, send it out to your networks and really kind of champion us. Because when you look at the Solar Roadways Indiegogo, they blew their Indiegogo. Their goal is $1 million. They made 2.2. The biggest reason, for me, I think one of the biggest reasons for that was beyond the fact that their product's pretty darn cool. They already had a huge following of people socially before they went there. And so we're doing anything we can do to get the word out right now. So anything you can do to help us get the word out about us and everywhere is the biggest thing that you can do to help us right now.
Thank you, Pete. That's awesome. And as you guys probably know, the green light tunnel is a very important issue no matter what side you're on. Just make sure you go out and vote. They have changed the election rules. If you're yes for green light, the election day is November 4th. If you are no on green light, they've moved it to the 5th. Just kidding. Just kidding. So, as you guys know, we normally have 2 presenters who are up here every week. Unfortunately, an emergency came up with one of our other presenters, so we have a little bit of extra time. And as happens from time to time, what we like to do is go around the room and talk to you guys and see what's coming up in the community, what events you have going on. I know Susan's talked to me already, so we'll start with Susan.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Well, I have to say, there's only 360 more days until the 9th annual Universal Music Day. So before we really get into that, I want to thank all of the people of St. Pete, Million Cups, the mayor, the Art Walk, the Arts Alliance, Soft Water Studios, and Paul Glass for that amazing musical instruments from a CAT scan. So this has been really wonderful, and there are so many people that if I started naming them, Sean would throw me off the stage. But there are a couple people that I really want to acknowledge, and I don't see Katerina today of the Tranquil Shores, but they have an event at Duncan McClellan's on the 29th of October, Hope and Art, or Art and Hope, to break the patterns of addiction for children. So I really want to invite everybody to come out for that. She did an amazing job for Universal Music Day at Studio 620, and I want to support her. Also, Ramona Ria is a new singer. She's reclaiming her voice after being shut down for a long time, and she was our singer at Studio 620. But there are so many people. I'd love for you to go on our website, universalmusicday.org, and also our Facebook page. People go on there, but they don't like us. We really need to build up that market. So thank you all, anybody that participated. Spread the word for next year, because when we get everybody singing and making music and raising their frequency, they're going to be interested in supporting all that you guys are doing. Too many people are asleep. We need to wake them up. So thank you, and thank you, Sean.
My pleasure. Thank you. Do you have any events coming up, JJ?
Yes, we do. We have Tech Garage grand opening is October 22nd, and it's down here in St. Pete, 244 2nd Avenue. But I would like to say something else, at least, if you don't mind. We'd like to invite everybody to the grand opening of Tech Garage. It's a great place for us. And what I want to ask everybody out here is, how many of you guys are actually startups, entrepreneurs that have businesses going? Okay, and how many people then are either angels or looking to invest? So the rest of us are part of the support community for these startups, apparently. And we're here to help startups work together. I was born in Clearwater, so 132nd District. Born in Clearwater, went to Georgia Tech. Part of that entrepreneurial community in 1984. So we were one of their first incubator companies. Two more went through the Georgia Tech incubator, went to San Francisco, went to Y Combinator. So I spent some time in the Bay Area. And the energy that I'm feeling here, I've been back here for 2 years now, is about equal to what it was in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of stuff going on. Startups are kind of growing. Investors are getting more excited that we talk to. So from an energy standpoint, it's almost equal to some of these other areas. And we can be as good as these other areas. But it's us working together as a community, helping, giving, sharing. The thing San Francisco brought to us at Y Combinator, if we needed help, there was somebody there. I mean, we had milestones, deadlines, but as soon as we needed something, we could snap our fingers and we had an inventory. We had somebody to help. We had somebody to work. So we stayed on track. We stayed on schedule. And that's what 1 Million Cups is bringing kind of to this area, this consolidation of people like us. And so I'm just encouraging everybody to kind of get together, follow with the community, continue to boost this energy, continue to volunteer, continue to support events like this. And we can actually be better than San Francisco because our region is better. Geographically, we have a nicer area to live than San Francisco does. So anyway, that's my pitch.
We have to about off all the time. Can you give us an update, just real quick, on the Warehouse Arts District and how things are going on?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. My name is Mark Yelling. I'm the president of the Warehouse Arts District Association, which is a 501c3, and we are in the middle of a capital campaign right now to develop a chunk of property in the Warehouse Arts District that we are calling the Warehouse Arts Enclave. And it is currently more commonly known as the ACE Recycling Compound. It's about 50,000 square feet. We're trying to get together $350,000 to get the project off the ground. We've had a reprieve in the past couple of weeks in that we've got an additional month to get our funds together. The owner of the compound has given us an extension on the contract period, And we'd love to come make a presentation here and give people an idea of what we're doing and what we need and how they can help. We are floating right now very close to $100,000 on our campaign. We are trying to get to that tipping point and get that energy and the information out. So if you'd like to know more about what we're doing, warehouseartsenclave.org is the website.
Where are you located?
This is in the Warehouse Arts District. The association doesn't have a specific address. Everyone on the board right now is volunteer. Part of the capital campaign will get us an executive director to help organize and operate the planned enclave. So my facility and the compound is, the address is 515 22nd Street South. And there are a number of lettered addresses within that address. MGA Sculpture Studio, which is my business, is Unit E there, and that's a 33712 zip code.
What's the parameters of the Warehouse Arts?
The Warehouse Arts District runs from 15th Avenue to 31st Avenue. Is that right? 15th Street to 31st Street, and then 1st Avenue North down to 10th Avenue South. That is the rectangular zone that makes up the Warehouse Arts District.
You trying to acquire all of that property?
No, goodness no. The 50,000 square feet of commercial property that's zoned industrial that we plan on putting an arts enclave on. The idea is to make a sustainable arts community for artists in this area. We've got an exploding arts community right now. We want to make sure that that's a sustainable entity for the community. That address is 515 22nd Street South.
That's right across the street from the job corps.
Correct. Any other questions?
Yeah, you missed one. It's over at 910 Fifth Avenue North. It's a big warehouse. They're doing a lot of artwork. There's other businesses in there. But
That's Bloom, I believe.
Yes.
I'm not sure what it's called.
And technically, they're not in the boundaries of the Warehouse Arts District Association, but the arts community is huge in the city of St. Petersburg, and any artist or supporter, regardless of their location, is welcome to become a member of the organization.
Okay, I'll pass that on and let them know. Whatever.
Thank you.
And just to let you know of a couple events that are coming up this week, you have Startup Grind. If you've never been to that, it's actually a really neat event talking about a successful entrepreneur's story, the struggles they've had. And they have Nick, I forget his last name, but from college, Hunk Selling Jump. And it's going to be a great event at Oxford Exchange. And then also this Saturday at USF in Tampa is Bar Camp. It's a day put on by geeks for geeks. It's a huge conference where you're going to have about probably 40 plus speakers broken out all throughout the campus, talking about design, development, marketing strategies, startups, all different types of things. So if it's a free event, you can go to barcamptampa.org to register for it, and all free goodies are given away. And also, if anyone has any interest in volunteering, we desperately need some help to help facilitate the whole entire event. There'll be about 800 people there, so it's a really, really cool, neat event. I'm happy to speak any more about it later if you have any questions or want some more information.
Anybody else have anything? Yes.
Hi, my name is Lillian Norris, and I am a environmental and science educator and an artist. I've recently kickstarted a children's book. I've got 8 days left. It's called Techie Super Cyberbot, The Journey Begins. And basically, it's a story where the goals of it, this is the first origin story for my character, which I want to expand into a whole series of adventures in science. I really want to inspire and empower kids to go into science and STEM fields and just have more confidence as in those early years in grade school. The more empowered they are in math and science at an early age, whether they go into a science field or not, it gives them a lot more confidence and a lot more ability to be successful in their later career, no matter what field they go into. So I'm wanting to excite kids about science. Also, some of my central characters in my book are women engineers and of minority backgrounds. I'm really wanting to empower girls also to go into those fields. And my background being in environmental also, my passion is sustainability, so I'm weaving in sustainability with technology, and that's my hope for kids to start thinking about how we can make solutions and start thinking early, because kids they have a whole different mindset of why can't we do things. I know there's so many emerging technologies coming out, but if you take a look at the Google Science Fair and a lot of science fairs around the country, it's just amazing what kids are coming up with as far as solutions and inventions. So that's what I'm hoping to encourage more. So if you guys could check out my project, I can give you guys my card. It's again techiecyberbot.com. If you go to that the website, it has the Kickstarter link to get to it. I've got 8 days left, and it hasn't been looking so good. But again, I appreciate you all taking a look at my video and my project, and if you could please share, that would be totally awesome. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
What was your name and your link again?
I'm sorry?
What is your name and your company link?
My name is Lillian Norris. Lillian just with one L in the center, and Norris like Chuck Norris. My own website's lilliannorris.com, but my character's address is Techie Cyberbot. That's TEKKY. Then like Science Bear Robot, SCIBEAR like a bear, and BOT.com.
Thank you.
Again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, I do have cards.
No, you cannot. Voting actually ended for the Martha Stewart campaign on Monday, and we will find out on the 17th what happens. They're picking 10 people, so we'll find out. We'll let you know. But I would like to thank everyone that did vote for us. At one point in time, at several times, we actually were trending in the #1 spot nationally. So it was some great marketing stuff for us. So thank you very much, and we appreciate all of you.
Well, speaking of voting, I want to plug a couple things. As some of you may know, Tampa Bay Business Journal puts on every year its Best in Biz Awards. And despite the fact that there are some folks in this room who are competing in the same category we are, I would encourage you to not think about them. And in the Economic Development Organization category, please remember your friends at the greenhouse and vote for us. Sure.
I just want to make an announcement on behalf of St. Pete
Go loud,
Preservation.
please.
St. Pete Preservation, I'm making an announcement on behalf of St. Pete Preservation. Every Thursday evening in Straub Park, St. Pete Preservation hosts Movies in the Park, which is their fundraiser. St. Pete Preservation is reasons why buildings like this exist, beautiful historic buildings which could get torn down. This week's movie is Grease. Next week, next Thursday, Napoleon Dynamite, and then the last Thursday is Goonies. There is live music, food, and if you live around here, it is a great event.
Nice.
And it's free.
Sure.
You know, the business community and the government of St. Pete have done a fabulous job. However, my belief is that the artists and musicians have been the spark plug that has made that happen and really brought that energy alive here. So when you think of supporting them, also support the artists and musicians. They need your money too. Thank you.
So again, to reiterate, Economic Development Organization, St. Petersburg Greenhouse. Please remember to vote. If you like us on Facebook, it's pinned to the top of the page. But regardless of that, I would like to invite all of you back here to this room on the 28th, which is the last Tuesday of the month. This is our 1-year anniversary here at the Greenhouse, and we're going to have a little party. There will be hors d'oeuvres and coffee and Probably out back there'll be a still. We can't have alcohol in here. I just see everybody else has beer meetings, and we can't do that. So. But please come check out it is 4 to 6 p.m. Carly, what is the URL for that?
Actually, that's a great point. I will be including that URL as well as the URLs to everything that was mentioned here, along with, of course, as usual, the summary of our one presenter, usually two, at the end of the week. So if you're not on our mailing list, go sign up. If you have already signed up and you're not getting them, that means you didn't write your name very clearly, so please make it legible. And you will get that email and with all those links in it, and yeah.
Awesome. And one last thing that I think about it, Monica. Is there an event coming up on the 21st that you feel confident in talking about?
Yes. For all you boomers and beyond out there, we have an event on October 21st from 4 to 7 at Feather Sound Country Club. It's EncoreTampaBay.com is the website, and it's called Engage 2.0. Marcy Alvahor, who wrote the book on Encore, which is a national movement, will be here, and she'll be featuring some local boomers who have developed an Encore career later in their lives. Really cool stories. It's a great event. It's an opportunity for employers and career seekers and people that are interested in becoming board members on not-for-profits or anything else. Anyone that's looking for what they want to do with the rest of their lives, come out and join us that day. It's $20. You get a book, and you get a lot of other nice free stuff. So please join us. Oh, registration closes on the 16th, so please do it today or tomorrow. Thanks.
Absolutely, and that link will be in our email as well. Unless you guys have something, we can adjourn early and get to the networking that we love so much. No? Great. Oh, heck here. That's a good point. I should probably introduce you two. So, you notice that normally JJ is back there with his steady hand and the $25 camcorder that has produced the great videos that we've seen so far. But we actually have professional video now, thanks to our good friends at USF St. Pete.
No balls!
You guys are probably, if you've been here before, not used to like lighting and microphones and being able to understand the speakers who are watching video. So we are eternally grateful for your
Our
time.
pleasure. Thank you so much for dealing with the lights. I know if there's any issues or if anybody's having any complications, please let one of us know. This is our trial, if you will. This is our very first beta. So if there's something like, yeah, it is really annoying to have this light right in my face, please let me know. If it's not, also please let me know. So that means we're doing the barn doors correctly. Appreciate that. Also, while I have the floor, if I may, I'm going to do a quick roundtable pitch. I'm also the Duchess of the Roundtable at the Tampa Bay Wave, here to serve my Knights in Shining startups. So if you have a startup, you don't have time to put a lot of effort into it at the moment, that's fine. We meet once a month, every second Wednesday for 2 hours. $150 for the year. Basically, that just covers pizza and beverages while we're there. And I'd offer all of you to come and join us. Thank you again so much for being patient with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. See you next week. Have a great